This is Semyon Krivoshein. He is a Soviet officer, the commander of a tank division and a veteran of the civil wars in Russia and Spain. Now he's in Belarus, just a few hundred kilometers away from the front lines. 2 weeks ago, the Germans attacked Poland, and since then they've effectively seized control of the country. Krivoshein learns the news of the war from Soviet newspapers. The newspaper Pravda focuses on the oppression of Ukrainian and Belarusian minorities in Poland and describes the Polish government as fascist. At the same time, the newspaper supports Germany's invasion of Poland. Pravda prints Hitler's speech in which he speaks of the importance of friendship with the USSR and accuses the Western countries of trying to pit the Germans and Russians against each other. Just 1 month previously, the USSR and Germany had signed a treaty, and now propaganda is laying the groundwork for Soviet divisions to move into Poland. But the Soviet Union is holding back. They're only ready to enter Polish territory when the Polish government finally ceases to exist and stops participating in all talks, including those with the USSR. Krivoshein can only guess about all of this. In addition, he doesn't know that a month ago the USSR and Germany signed a non-aggression pact, as well as a secret protocol in which the two countries agreed on how to divide up Poland. Finally, on September the 17th, the Soviet Union moves its troops into Poland. Many soldiers are inspired by the news, as it is a chance to prove themselves and seek revenge on the Poles for the defeat of 1920. Krivoshein heads westward together with this tank brigade. An official declaration of war does not follow, however. The invasion is officially known as a liberation campaign for Western Ukraine and Western Belarus. Many in these areas greet the Soviet army as liberators. However, many Soviet soldiers can't understand what is happening. Not long ago, the Germans were the main enemy. The change happened so suddenly that many Red Army soldiers and commanders believe that they're going to fight against the Nazis. The Poles also do not immediately understand the situation either. There are rumors that the Soviet Union has brought in troops to help fight against the Germans. Polish Marshal Edward Rydz-Śmigły doesn't want to fight on two fronts and orders the army not to engage with the Soviet troops, provided that the Soviets don't force them to give up their weapons. The Poles put up almost no resistance and quickly surrender. Many of those who surrendered will later be shot by Soviet security services at Katyn in the spring of 1940. Although Britain and France are horrified at the Soviet invasion of Poland, it is accepted more calmly than Germany's attack. The governments of the Western countries see opposing Hitler as their priority and don't want to force a conflict with the USSR. In order to avoid surrender and imprisonment, the Polish government decides to flee the country. And during the night of September the 17th and 18th, Poland's president and commander-in-chief crossed the Polish-Romanian border at Kuty. The Red Army continues to push forward and attacks Grodno, Kowal and Lwów. They advance so quickly that their main problem is actually a shortage of gasoline. At the same time, the Germans have occupied almost all of Western Poland. Warsaw is under siege. There are 3.5 million Jews in Poland. Reinhard Heydrich, chief of the Reich Main Security Office, gives the order to solve the Jewish problem in the occupied territories. Krivoshein is the son of a Jewish artisan, and of course he doesn't know what is being planned in the offices of the Reich or the fate awaiting the Polish Jews. On September the 20th, he receives the order to take Brest. The city is occupied by the Germans, but under the Nazi-Soviet pact, it is allocated to the Russians. Talks are quickly arranged between the Russian and German commanders. Krivoshein attends alone. He and the German commander speak to each other in the only language they have in common. French. The German commander-in-chief Guderian insists on holding a joint celebratory parade. Krivoshein says he's tired and says his troops are not prepared, but doesn't want to offend the Germans, and in the end he agrees. So, on the 22nd of September, a joint Wehrmacht Red Army parade is held in Brest. Hitler's general has held talks in French with a Jewish Soviet communist and then hands him the Polish city. Just a few months earlier, these events would have been impossible to imagine. Very soon, they will become inconceivable once again. In June 1941, Germany will invade the Soviet Union and the newfound friends will once again become deadly enemies.